not in care because you have the ma that you can turn to, a dad to turn to. Your circumstances are different, you know what I mean? So there's no support there, and for anyone to turn to that's leaving care, and that's how the addiction and then no jobs and all comes into play, because you actually don't know what to do, what path to take in life, because you're not being guided in the right way. So, and even down to little things like trying to get a new doctor or trying to get a credit union, they always look for a fixed address, and this comes into play with the homeless as well. Most homeless people obviously haven't got a fixed address that they can turn to, so they can't, for example, open a bank account without a letter of proof of address. They can't get a new doctor, they can't do anything, open a credit union. So how does anyone expect people to better themselves when they're constantly being discriminated against by everyone? Do you know what I mean? For things that are completely out of their hands. With addiction is very close to my heart, like, because I've seen it struggling. I've seen a lot of people struggling that will be close to me. Do you know what I mean? But no addict decides to wake up one morning and say, right, I'm going out today and I'm going to be strung out on drugs. Nobody wants that. Do you know what I mean? Everyone is suffering with their own demons in their own head, and I think that sometimes in life your worst enemy can be our own brain. But there's no support. Like, if, for example, if you're walking down the street and you see some homeless person maybe asking for spirit change, some people just look down their nose and say, oh no, that's not right, that's for drugs. That's not right at all. There's a man actually at the minute on O'Connell Bridge, and his stories after only coming out recently, he's there ages. But basically what happened was his daughter died, his wife became an alcoholic to deal with this, and then she wasn't paying off the mortgage bills. She died of the alcoholism, and now he's left on the street. Do you know what I mean? Because he has no house. But he's been discriminated against constantly by people walking across that bridge, looking at him, asking for money, but nobody knows what's after happening in his life. Nobody knows his story. Do you know what I mean? He wasn't after getting himself on drugs. He just had a different circumstances altogether, but people presume because he's on the street that he's on drugs. And even if he is on drugs, where's the help for him? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's disgraceful, to be honest, in my eyes, that our own people are constantly looking down on our own people, because we're all equal. Do you know what I mean? Like, nobody's better than anyone. And for example, when you're growing up and you're in aftercare, you're 13, 14, 15, they're the years your mother, your father, whoever's at home, your grandparents will be teaching you how to cook, how to wash your clothes, how to dress yourself, how to save money, and how to basically live your life for the rest of your life. But when you're in care and you're being constantly moved around, there's nobody keeping track of that. So you're not learning your life skills, you're not learning how to value money or save money, and then you're at 18 years of age, you're just out. So the way I think you could help that situation would be, when someone comes into care, they're obviously struggling with trust from the get-go, because they're after being torn away from their family, what they're comfortable with. They don't want to be in care. So I think if they had one stable person, for example the social worker, and that social worker follows them throughout their care system and doesn't keep swapping and changing, because if it's out of their hands whether their houses have to change, that's not what they can deal with. But the social worker could say the same, so that maybe that child could feel that they have one person to turn to, and that person is actually there to listen to them, and then that social worker could follow that child's growth throughout their life, to realise, to make sure that they know how to do their washing, know how to save, know how to cook, for when they do turn 18, even if the housing crisis is still the same, because we've no control over that at the minute, that they still know how to help better themselves and help themselves, the resources they can go to, the places they can go to get the help and the supports that are offered to them. In my experience, if that little thing had been changed when I was younger and that one consistent person was there, I do reckon that would have helped me a lot. I always just believe what you put into a child when they're younger is what you're going to get out of the child when they're older. So you need that person. We're no different in that. Like, I don't see why I should be discriminated against for the fact that my mother weren't in the position to have me. Do you know what I mean? But all my life growing up, I was discriminated against for that fact, even without people realising they were doing it. Do you know what I mean? And that needs to stop, because like, I'm trying to better myself, but even throughout life, when you're trying to go forward in life, it always comes back to that. Do you know what I mean? So it's very important just to bring awareness to it and try to help it stop, for not me but for other people growing up in care that's going to be going through the care system, to help them, make it a little bit easier for them. Because you have to realise, like, when I'm not being funny, I'm grateful I'm here, but I did not ask to be born, nobody asked to be born. Do you know what I mean? And when you are born into an unstable family, that's not the child's fault, that's not anyone's fault. Do you know what I mean? So I think there should be a member of authority to come in, obviously not like the social services, nothing like that, but just to make sure that your actually personal human needs are being met. You learn the most when you're a baby and when you're in the teenage years, your adolescent years, and your brain is like a sponge. But when you're in care and you're not being taught, and how does anyone expect people to live throughout life and not to be in the revolving door of prison, or not to be homeless, or not to be on drugs, to take the easy route out? Because we don't know the right way unless someone teaches it to you. I had to learn my independence myself because nobody else taught me, and I was lucky enough to have a head on my shoulders. I actually could do that, but I've witnessed 30, 40, 50 people in the last 2 years in aftercare that's genuinely relapsed in every way, and there's 2 people in my time in 2 years in aftercare that haven't relapsed and that are still sober.